Good evening, Williamson County Fair. I'd like to welcome everyone to our booth this evening. My name is Jay Bonson. I'm the County Fire Coordinator. I'd like to introduce with you tonight our showcase department, Williamson County Rescue Squad, the members from primarily Station 23 at Thompson Station. Williamson County, outside the municipal department, or outside of the incorporated town limits, is primarily staffed with volunteer firefighters. We have a total of 215 volunteer firefighters, including in Nolensville, in the area of Nolensville and Thompson Station. Inside our city limits, we have full-time fire departments, and all of our departments, all of our fire service are professionally trained firefighters. What we would like to do is show you a little bit about what we do and some of the skills that we take. We are unable to burn anything because of the noxious fumes, so what we thought we would do is dissect a car for you and show you what you all have as far as rescue capabilities. Throughout Williamson County, you know we have quite a bit of traffic that we deal with as we go through the county, and we've seen an upturn in car accidents and automobile accidents. The way vehicles are made today, they're made with very lightweight metals that crush very easily. The engine or the compartment that the occupants stay inside the vehicle stay very safe, and they're built very safe, but because of the thin metals, the car compacts around that compartment and it makes it very difficult to get people out, sometimes when they're not even injured. But many times in a car accident, we'll find someone who's critically injured. The goal of the fire department is a 60-minute window from the moment the accident occurs to the time that we get the patient to the hospital. We call this the golden hour. When the fire department first arrives on the scene, the incident commander will do a quick pre-incident survey where he'll circle the car and look for any hazards that might be hazardous to the firefighters. The first primary thing that you'll notice our firefighters doing is stabilizing the vehicle with stabilizing wheel chocks. As they stabilize the vehicle, this allows the vehicle to stay from moving or rolling away from us. The next thing that's typically done is we remove all of the glass all the way around the vehicle. This is not just because we like to break glass. It's primarily because as we make cuts in the vehicle and twist the metals of the vehicle, the glass will break anyway. If we can break the glass on our own, then we can do it in a controlled environment, and it makes it safer for everyone. Immediately, the fire service will put one firefighter inside the vehicle, gain access to any patients inside, and cover them with a sheet or blanket. This is to protect the patient inside the vehicle from the glass that might be flying. The firefighter will also stay under the blanket with the patient and explain everything that's going on as the time goes on. This is a very stressful time and stressful environment for the people inside the vehicle. They're already scared and unsure as to what's taking place. So the firefighter being inside is a very big helpful and stress reliever. So as the firefighters remove the vehicle windows all the way around the vehicle, this allows us to leave only metal parts that we have to cut. About 70 years ago, we would have been having to use hand tools, band saws, and come-alongs with chains to remove people from these vehicles. Today, we use much stronger tools on our fire trucks, most of which are hydraulically operated tools. Most common is called the jaws of life. You'll see firefighter Allman holding the main jaws of life in his hands now. These are called spreaders. The hydraulic power gives tremendous amount of pressure on both sides of the arms of the spreaders that allows us to force the door either open or force a pinch within the metal so that we can gain access to make a cut. We've now been inside 2 minutes of access to the patient, and you'll notice we already have the windows completely out, the patient is covered, and a firefighter is with that patient. Our goal typically is to remove the roof of the vehicle as quickly as possible, which gains access, total access to the patient, provides a much better environment for the patient. It drops the temperature almost 20 degrees immediately and will calm the patient tremendously. It also gives us a lot more access to the patient to provide medical care. Our co-workers with the EMS field typically would be working with us inside the vehicle, treating the patient's wounds under the blanket, providing IV fluids, and communicating with the hospital to what exactly we have to deal with. You'll notice a lot of the noise that you're hearing. We're using sawzalls to cut the posts around the vehicle that will remove the ceiling or the roof of the vehicle. To communicate better, the fire service labels each of the posts from the front to the rear, beginning with the letter A, B, C, D, E, and so forth, depending on how many posts we have to deal with. In our example here tonight, we have 3 posts, so there would be an A post, a B post, and a C post. What you're seeing now is we're gaining full access to the driver's side of this vehicle. They will remove both the front and the rear door so that we have complete access to the patient, and we'll be able to remove the patient quickly and easily. Again, our goal is to remove the vehicle from the patient and not the patient from the vehicle. New tools today are very similar to the tools that we're using here, except they are battery-powered hydraulics that prevent us from having all the cords laying around. We also have those types of tools throughout our fleet as well. In our county areas outside the cities, we're blessed to have 14 fire stations. All 14 fire stations are staffed with volunteer firefighters. The vast majority of each of those stations, a fire truck will carry at least one rescue tool on it. That rescue tool allows us to have a truck on the scene very quickly to at least begin operations of a rescue. In the county, we also have 3 other fire stations that have full-size rescue and extrication equipment that responds to all accidents. So once the first fire engine gets there, they can start an extrication, and the larger trucks can join later on as needed. As we remove these doors, we gain full access to the patient. You'll see now where they have completely removed the center B post from the engine, from the passenger compartment, gaining full access to the patient. They're using some cutters now where they will provide a relief cut, and they will then switch over to a different tool called a ram, where they'll push the dashboard forward. We're 6 minutes into the extrication at this time. Engine compartments today, in our newer vehicles today, are made such that the engine is mounted in at an angle. In the event of a front-on collision, the engine would then be pushed backwards but down toward the ground and away from the passenger compartment, which helps to provide a safer environment inside the passenger area. Newer metals that are being used in newer vehicles today are much stronger metals, and even our rescue tools have a tough time cutting through many of those. Oftentimes, the rescue department is behind the times in attempting rescues as opposed to where the vehicle manufacturers are building. So now we have both front and rear doors removed from the vehicle. On the driver's side, we have full access to the patient inside the vehicle. The final cut of the C-post on the back side on the passenger side of the vehicle is being done now, and they'll remove the ceiling completely. We're 8 minutes into the extrication. You'll take note on the passenger side of the vehicle where we're using an electric sawzall, you can hear the noise that's being generated from there. On the driver's side, we're using the hydraulic cutter. It takes 2 cuts, and he can be through that C-post very quickly. The sawzall typically takes a little longer, but while we're working with the hydraulic tools on one side, the sawzall can be working on the other, thus saving us time throughout. One final snip. And now we have a convertible. We now have complete, full access to the patient. We could potentially take the patient with a backboard, slide it right down the patient's back, and straight up and out of the vehicle, and put him immediately into the ambulance to be transported for the hospital. What we're doing now is just a simple dash roll so that you can see where we would push that front dashboard away from their knees or their ankles. Many times in accidents, like I was telling you about a minute ago, where the engine compartment pushes downward, it will trap a person's ankles or their knees at the dash. This allows us to be able to push that dash forward and give us about 6 to 8 inches extra room inside. We're 11 minutes into the extrication. The final cut that he's making here in the dash just simply allows that metal to spread further so that we can push that dash up and off of the knees. Again, the spreaders will be pushed apart, forcing the dash forward and forcing the metal into a position that we want it to work with as opposed to where it rests. Those of you in the front row can probably see better the dashboard moving forward now, getting about 6-8 inches. As you see, the steering wheel is certainly out of the way. And now we'll remove the patient. Again, our EMS people would have already been here on the scene with us, working with us, would have already had IVs run and medicines and treating the wounds. And now we have complete patient extrication in 13 minutes. Thank you so very much for coming out and watching our show this evening. We'll be here every night at 8 o'clock, and also on Sunday we'll be here again at 2. We'll have a different fire department here each time to do a different type of extrication. Farewell.